East King County, so like Issaquah, down to Enumclaw, out to North Bend, that's sort of the region of King County that I represent in the state senate. Focusing on public safety, I feel like that's an area where we've gone the wrong direction in the last 5 or 6 years. I feel like Washington is less safe, not more safe than it was 5 or 6 years ago. And so that's a big reason for me running this campaign. All the law enforcement organizations have actually endorsed my race because I think I've been the most vocal in the Senate Democrats around acknowledging that the state should be a better partner to cities and counties who want to invest in public safety. And affordability is the other one where I think been the loudest voice in the Senate, and why I'm running for the governor's office is like my oldest daughter is going to finish school next year. I want her to be able to afford to live here. And my wife and I are both nervous that our area where we were both born and raised is becoming unaffordable for average families. And I think it starts with housing. Like, I chair our state construction budget, and I feel we put so many hurdles in front of building the things that we need to build that we've actually made it really expensive. And we have to fix that whole permit system so we can get not just housing, but this is schools, hospitals, fire stations, road projects. We have to make it easier to build everything that we need to build in our state, but it does start with housing. Because I think if we make it easier to build stuff, we'll come back to having a more affordable state again. Anymore. I mean, like my Ben & Jerry's, when I opened in 2010, I was paying $36,000 a year, and now I'm paying $72,000 a year. That's rent for an ice cream store in Issaquah. I mean, that to me is crazy. And so I feel bad because I have no choice but to raise my prices, because I can't pay $72,000 in rent with the same prices I had when my rent was $36,000. And so I do feel like this is our challenge. If we don't, it just is kind of a vicious cycle. If you don't make it easier to build the stuff we need to build, it's going to be more expensive to rent, and then it's more expensive for you to buy the products from that business, and that just makes it kind of feeds on itself.
Right, and I think it's nice to have somebody who understands what that's like, for regular small business owners.
Yeah, and of people running for governor, I'm the only small business owner running for governor in Washington. And so because of that, you're getting more and more people voting Democrat. And so as you have a larger amount of people voting Democrat, it creates a lane, because the Republicans are not unified. Like the Semi Bird Trump Republicans do not like the Dave Reichert Republicans. So those two groups are at odds with each other. And so there's actually more friction, I would say, between them than there is between those candidates and myself. And so you have this opportunity, because the Republicans are splitting their vote, not uniting behind one person, that you could actually have two Democrats. Extra 350 beds at Western State Hospital, but it's just not done yet. I mean, this is something I funded in the 23 construction budget, so it's going to take 5 years to get that. And that's the other thing. Not only is it expensive to build here, it takes a long time to build here. So we have to make it more affordable to build and quicker to build. Those two are completely connected. And but I am optimistic. I'm optimistic. We're adding residential facilities throughout the state to expand mental health access. And I think, to your point, that's a really tough question of, can you force someone?
Sometimes liberty versus public safety.
So it's the involuntary commitment piece, where Oregon, it's a lot easier to involuntarily commit someone for mental health reasons. Washington, it's a little harder. And so that, to me, is a really, it's not a black and white issue. It's a lot of shades of gray. It's really tough when you say to someone, I don't care what you want to do, I'm forcing you to stay in here. Even though you haven't committed a crime, you haven't done anything wrong yet. Once you commit a crime, I think it's different. At that point, you can make people stay even if they don't want to. I think the real tough public policy question is, should family members have the ability to put a family member in a mental health facility that they're not allowed to leave? And so we have to figure that out, because I'm not going to pretend that I have the 100% clear answer on what to do in that situation. But To me, it'd be very appealing to have a small business owner in the governor's office, because I always, and you guys probably have the same experience I do. Small business owners, they can't afford to waste money, because if you waste money, the next year, you're out of business. So you get that same mentality in the governor's office. It's going to be very interesting to see how much productivity you can get out of our state workforce without having to raise taxes, just by having a different management style of how you run these organizations. And it makes me very optimistic that we can actually have a big positive change in our state and just get more, like when I got elected, so 2012, so 2013 was my first budget I voted on. It was $34 billion. The budget we passed this March was $72 billion. That is not a very long amount of time to go from $34 billion to $72 billion. So I get really frustrated when every session people show up and have 10 different bills to raise taxes. I'm like, why don't we shift our mentality to say, we already now have $72 billion of tax revenue. It's more than double what it was when I got to the Senate 12 years ago. How about just getting something of value for that $72 billion? And we should be getting something for value of it. And you just need a governor whose focus isn't, I think Bob Ferguson's focus is get on the news. That's why everyone knows who Bob Ferguson is. People don't know who I am because my focus is actually working in a bipartisan manner to actually solve problems. Like, it's really interesting. You look at the budget I chair, the operating budget passes on a party line vote. Democrats vote yes, Republicans vote no. State construction budget, it passes 49-0. I go to Eastern Washington, I meet with Republican senators, I say what investments are important in your community, I then keep my promise and I make those investments, and they vote for my budget. And so to me, this is kind of the bipartisan mentality we need in the governor's office, but it's not newsworthy. I'm not suing Trump and, trying, it's like, I'm just trying to find bipartisan solutions so our state can be often, just the way you kind of authenticate, when you're trying to buy something online, it says, hey, make sure it's you and blah, blah, blah. There's ways you could actually process these things without hiring an extra 400 or 500 workers. We're like the capital, we're the technology capital of the world, and we're not using that technology to help run state government more efficiently, but we're using it when we buy tennis shoes on the internet, right? It's like really easy. And so it's a shame when these companies are founded here, they're raised here, we're not actually utilizing their technology to help deliver government services right now in the way that I think we could. And so I think there is a lot of opportunity on that front. Small business owners, not just to help the business owner, I want to do it because it creates jobs. And I look at the opportunity we have for the state to be a better partner with the business community. I think when we do that, we're going to create a lot more jobs, because right now you have jobs in King County, but when you go to rural Washington, the unemployment rate is 50% higher than it is where we're sitting right here in Bellevue. And so to me, you really have to have this mentality of the state being a partner with the business community. We're going to help create jobs throughout the entire state. If people have jobs, they're less likely to be doing other bad things. And so I feel really strongly that we can invest in our public education system, give people a better chance for success. And like I said, I'm committed as a product of our public school system. I feel really proud it was my path out of poverty. I think it should be everyone's opportunity to get out of poverty through having really good local public schools. And at the same time, we can do a better job of supporting the business community so we create more jobs. And it's all about helping our economy grow, not taxing our economy to the point where people want to move to a different state to operate their businesses. And I think we can get this balance right, and if we get it right, our state becomes more affordable, our state becomes more safe. Everyone, no matter where you are on the political spectrum, enjoys living in Washington more than they do right now.